Hey folks, welcome to another VR video. Today I'm playing around with the Vive Focus. Now, I've currently set up to cast, projecting my VR screen. There's a bunch of other options here. Headset in space is a good option. If we click on this, you can set up the safety virtual wall, so this will set up a chaperone boundary. I have that currently turned off. And there's also a see real surroundings button. So I press the power button twice. It'll actually show me the computer in front of me, and you can see my microphone and my hands. Ooh. So we'll go back into the Vive Focus now. And again, this is all being projected to my computer screen in front of me. So I'm going to have to pop up my headset every once in a while just to make sure, yeah, it is still projecting just fine. But that's the See Real Surroundings mode. It's basically like a black and white motorcycle helmet that you're looking through. But it works a lot better to me than the HTC Vive chaperone mode does at the present time, where it's either looking down at the controller to see a camera mode in full color, or it's kind of like a weird blue Tron mode. There's other settings here. I'm not going to go into any of those right now. Instead, what we're going to do is back out and check out some of the content that's available for the Vive Focus. And I have to say, there's not a whole lot out there right now, unfortunately. So here we are in the menu structure. Now, the applications I use the most are VRidge Focus, which is a special Vive Focus version of RiffCat's VRidge, which we'll get into a little bit later. And I've actually used for a couple of other videos as well. Firefox Reality, which is the Firefox web browser. It is functional to use WebVR, which is very valuable on a device like this. Beat Reality, which is actually a pretty cool application. We'll jump in just very briefly. This uses that black and white mode and adds color to it. So you'll see once it loads here, it's dim unless I talk. And as I'm talking, you'll see that it kind of flashes different colors. It's kind of trippy. So with music, it would be even trippier. And that's pretty much it for Beat Reality. And I can do a snapshot, that's right. So now that I'm in Beat Reality, I can go ahead and do this, and it takes a snapshot. So it's a pretty cool application. There's a blogger slash developer named, I believe it's Scared Ghost, it might be Scarred Ghost. I'll link to his channel because there's a bunch of other stuff on his page and on his YouTube channel as well, which is pretty cool. And then photos, which I'm not going to show you any of my personal photos. But let's go ahead and go through the storefront. So the storefront we're about to look through is the United States storefront. It used to be that the United States storefront was very, very different from the Chinese storefront. But they're almost at parity right now. So they've got things in different sections. We'll start with narrative here, and then we'll work our way through. But with narrative, you've got Masterworks, which is a great application. It's still available for free. It's also available on a bunch of other mobile platforms, and I believe on Viveport for the Vive as well. Virtual Reality. This is, again, based on the mobile version. Sisters, Faye and Elsa Collection, again, based on the mobile version. City Avenger, Bait, Amusement Planet, a bunch of smaller titles. And one of the things you will not find is anything that's comparable to a PC VR title. And part of the reason for that is this controller. A 3DOF controller cannot handle a lot of PC VR titles, but you'll see later in this video that it can absolutely work with 3DOF titles. I'm sorry, with 6DOF titles on PC. Rock Throwing Guy AR is actually a joke also made by that same developer. The Magic Leap headset, one of their first demos was this rock throwing guy. So that's how that worked out. We've got creativity. So again, not a lot here. I really like VR Cube though, so we'll go ahead and it's got an update. So we're not going to do that right now. But that one is a lot of fun. We'll get back to that in a little while. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and hit update so that it will update. Waffle Composite again is another indie developer. I found them on Twitter at Waffle Composite, so you can check out their stuff there. Vive Video is made by HTC, and it does indeed stream Vive Video. So if we go to, actually it looks like I don't have it installed right now. I'll have to go to my library in a minute. We've got Vive Paper in our library, which is basically a magazine and news reader, which we'll go into in a little while. Again, not super unique titles. A lot of these have been available on Viveport M for non-Vive Focus as well. And it's kind of cool that they share their library, but at the same time, I'd love to see more that's directly built for this particular platform. So we've got Electro Beats, which is again available on the Go, the Gear VR, a bunch of other platforms. Bowling Starlight is a unique title to the Vive Focus, and it is a bowling game. It does use the 6-DoF of the headset in kind of a well-meaning way. We've got Flashing Beat, which is a guitar playing game where they actually in China are shipping out cardboard guitars that hold your smartphone, and then you can actually sync your smartphone as a second controller, which is kind of cool. There's some video out there of that one. Crimson Steam. But as you can see, as I go through these titles, there's not really anything that says you need to have this particular device, with the exception of VRidge, which I'm going to get to in just a few minutes. And because of that, like, I can go through the rest of these sections, but I'm not going to right now. I'm just going to show you a couple of the mobile titles that are available. But because of that, this particular device doesn't really have a must-buy to it right now. And that's disappointing because with the two front-facing cameras to track the device, it's really a pretty awesome headset. So if we go into our library, I've got a ton of stuff installed on here. Not much of it is really all that good. But if we go into VR Cube, you can see this one is kind of a building block simulator, and I have previously built, I'm going to try to get into, yeah, we're going to load up, it's the Incredible Hulk, and I can fly through and up to the Incredible Hulk, and I can look around. The cool thing is I can actually get up, move around, and it tracks the headset. So moving forward, moving back, moving around, that you can't do with an Oculus Go or a Gear VR at the present time, or a Daydream View, but you can with the Lenovo Mirage Solo, and of course you'll be able to do that with the Oculus Quest. Now, I built that sculpture previously. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in that application, but you can see you can build some very remedial sculptures with VR Cube. If we go back into our library here, so Firefox Reality is, again, just a web browser, nothing super spectacular. So Vive has their own browser as well. We'll just pop that up for just a second. Everything that I'm showing on screen has been downloaded. They're all free titles. There's not a lot of paid for titles, and definitely not ones that I would actually go with. There's a couple that I have on other platforms that are great. So we've got YouTube on here, Twitter on here, Facebook on here, Wikipedia, Yahoo, and Amazon. Those have actually replaced a bunch of Chinese sites. So these are new recommendations to the last time I've been here. But if we go to YouTube in the Vive browser, it's just mobile YouTube. It's not the YouTube that you would want. If we tried to search for 3D video, we wouldn't be able to see it in 3D. So unfortunately, it's really just a standard web browser, not the best thing on earth. So go back to the Vive Focus menu, and we'll try a couple of games. Now I'm going to show you my favorite Vive Focus title in just a moment here. And you're going to laugh at what my favorite Vive Focus specific title. Now this is outside of VRidge. VRidge is by far the coolest thing I've got. But for right now, my favorite Vive Focus title of the 8 pages of titles that I have. Poor Jaunt, I'm going to miss their VR content. Is Space Dodge right here. This particular title is available on literally every platform known to man. It's even available on Google Cardboard. But it is absolutely my favorite title on the Vive Focus currently. It doesn't even really take advantage of anything except for moving your headset back and forth, up and down. It's super simple. So you'll notice now that I've taken charge of the ship, tilting my head up and down, left and right, moves it. I have to say, I thought, hey, this is kind of impressive. It's tracking the headset. But I've tried this, like I said, on anything, including a Google Cardboard, and it works almost as well. Bit of a warp zone there. And really all you're doing is collecting these little gems. But I don't know, this one just kind of snuck up on me. It's a sleeper hit. Another warp coming up here. And that's that. So I've crashed. We're not going to play again. Whoops. We're not going to play again right now. We're going to exit out of Space Dodge. But again, not a title that you actually need the 6 for. The only title actually that I have that you do is Floating Island here. This one, well, it's got an update, so let's go ahead and run that update. So that title, once it finishes updating, is one that actually uses, I believe, 8 meters by 8 meters space. I don't have that kind of space in my home. I have tried it in a conference room. It's kind of fun. So we'll give it just a moment to update. I'll just open it up so you can see it. So you have to have the virtual walls off. Please play the game in the center of a space at least 8 meters by 8 meters. Space should be bright, flat, and barrier free. If you feel uncomfortable while playing the game, take off the Vive Focus. And it now works in English, which it did not the last time I played it. So you've got an island or an endless play. We'll go to the island. You'll notice there's a mini desert now, which is cool because it's only 4 meters by 5 meters, which is a much more workable space. But don't actually run, jump, or stretch out your head. So we'd be able to walk through, moving forward to the side, under that bar, and so forth, to finish this little island, moving up onto the next pedestal and so forth, and trying to avoid those obstacles. So it is a cool floating island adventure, but it's not something that's playable in my home. Let's go back to the home screen. So that was, again, Floating Island. That's the only game I have that takes advantage of the 6 stuff. So now we're going to set up VRidge, and I'm going to actually set that up with Steam VR, so you're going to see the Open VR window on my screen. So no more looking at the Vive Focus. We're going to go ahead and turn off that setting in More Settings, and I'll be back in just a moment so you can see some of VRidge and how it works with the Vive Focus. Alright, so now we are in Beat Saber with no arrows. Hopefully this will work out. We've got a single saber as a 3-DOF controller, unfortunately. We're going to play on easy. Got the no fail option on so you can see how smooth it works. Now obviously I'm going to miss everything that's red. see, I can lean. The headset recognizes all of that. And so it works pretty well. You get the general idea. So, sort of working game in Beat Saber. Now we're going to jump to a game that definitely works in Space Pirate Trainer. So again, we've only got a 3DOF controller, but it moves around fairly well. It's passable. More of a dodge, nope, they call into the gun kind of game. But they will eventually, as you can see. As you can see, not perfect by any means, but definitely playable and fun. And we've died. So that's Space Pirate Trainer, and as you can see, because the 3DOF is kind of locked into place, it's playable, but it's a lot more challenging. You've only got one hand, one gun. But it's also a lot harder to stay locked into place. Now, there are other games that will work. Go out into the lab. only got one controller, but here we are loading up the lab. And I have to say, the visuals, this is broadcasting over 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, looks just as good, if not better, than my Vive currently. There's a little bit of stutter every once in a while, but that is my home internet connection. I'm going to teleport over to Zortex. Pick up that ball. I guess I can't sink my head into it, can I? Let's try that again. There we go. So that was a little bit of a challenge because, again, the controller's kind of in a fixed space. So we'll defend our ship. Now everyone should be familiar with Zortex. Died. But again, it works. Try one more time. It's hard to get used to shit not being able to move around as freely. Bit more complicated than playing Space Pirate Trainer was with a 3-DOF controller, but it again is usable. Now, this was just a quick look at a few titles. There's not a whole lot of titles that will work with one controller. So if I tried to load up Audio Shield, for example, it needs 2 controllers to be 2 hands. There's a lot of games that will work, but where this VRidge software really shines is with a gamepad. I've done a couple of games already. I am going to play in another video this week some of E. McNeil's titles. E. McNeil has made a bunch of games that work across a bunch of different VR platforms. So I'll be playing those in another video using a single controller on the Vive Focus so you can see how well this works. But check out some of my other titles in my Vive Focus playlist so you can see other games that work pretty well with this particular setup. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, get out there and enjoy some VR for yourself, and thanks for watching.